Welcome back to Gibbo MMA. The circus has come to town. We have a weekend at the boxing circus. We've got Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, and as well, the return of King Cobra. Andrew Tate is stepping in the boxing ring this weekend against, I don't even know who this guy is, Chase Demoor, never heard of him. And we've got a fun weekend of boxing fights. No UFC. I forgot these fights were on. But yeah, this weekend, I thought, why not? Let's do a preview of it. Let's have fun with it. It's silly season. It's the holidays. Merry Christmas to all. That is next week. And let's get into this Jake Paul Anthony Joshua fight. This came about super quick. And a big thing about this fight and Jake Paul, Joshua, and it's all fucking money grab fixed and all this shit. Don't hate the player, hate the game. This is a great way to make a living. But come Saturday night or Friday night for Jake Paul, I expect nothing less than to see him get knocked out. Anthony Joshua, a top 5 boxer in the world right now in the heavyweight division, a 2-time heavyweight champion, and he's facing a guy who's 45 pounds lighter than him and 6 inches shorter than him. So I think it's inevitable that Jake Paul gets knocked out. I expect nothing less, and if he doesn't, this is a big L for Anthony Joshua. Not as far as his bank account. Again, if you told me, hey, we need a tune-up fight for you, instead of facing a lesser-known guy who's much better for less money, how about we throw you into this circus? You get a heap of money, the guy is smaller than you, he's a novice, all you have to do is just show up, do what you do. Hell yeah, I'm doing it. Like, if I'm Anthony Joshua, hell yeah, I'm doing this fight. And originally, how this fight came about was super weird. Originally, it was Gervonta Davis. So we've gone from one extreme to the other. So we had Gervonta Davis, a 5'2" guy on his tippy toes, 135-pound man. And he gets cancelled because he's got personal issues. He's dealing with like a civil lawsuit. And Jake Paul, he last weighed in at 199, 200 pounds. So he's gone from fighting a guy who's a dwarf to now fighting a guy who's a freaking Goliath. So from one extreme to the other, Anthony Joshua, promoted by Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, they say yes to it. And this is a professional bout sanctioned by the Florida Athletic Commission. This is taking place in Miami. And this is a serious professional bout. And, they confirmed, or BBC, if you want to take that with a grain of salt, said they reached out to, where is it? Sorry. Yeah, BBC, they reached out to the commission asking if there were like knockouts, if knockouts are permitted, and they confirmed with Team Paul and Joshua and the commission that yes, knockouts are permitted. Like, to think that they had to reach out and to get that confirmed is just wild, because we know the history of Jake Paul fights. Speculation around, in the contracts, you can't knock them out or this, that, the other. And his last fight against Mike Tyson, people felt like they got scammed and felt like they were going easy. He was going easier on them, or vice versa. And guys, you got to remember, like, this guy is a showman, an entertainer first, not a boxer. This right here is what he does. The Tyson fights, the Ben Askren, the Tyron Woodley, the Anderson Silva. All these fights are entertainment first, boxing second. yes, he takes it's serious, like it's a deadly sport, but he's a showman, and he's bringing the circus to Miami. He's got another partner to perform in the circus with him, and they're going to make a heap of money. So yeah, I just feel like people really like try and take it so serious and like, oh, he's not a real boxer. And it's like, nah, like, hey, he's just a freaking showman. Like, that happens to box and markets well and gets bums on seats and gets, this is live on Netflix. So all you need is a subscription, so it's not a pay-per-view. And no one else is doing that in boxing. You've seen with Andrew Tate, Misfits Boxing, they've somehow, they've navigated the circus of boxing really well. Like, it's all exhibition, and now they've got Andrew Tate headlining. Their previous event was a Darren Till Luke Rockhold one, but this is just a good for the casual fans, to watch. Like, I'm not here trying to watch some high level boxing, and the high level boxing, there's heaps out there, but it just doesn't get put on the map and no one really cares. Whereas people care about this stuff, whether you like it or not. And I sit in the mindset and perspective of this is just going to be fun. We're going to see some shit technique. We're going to see some funny moments. We're going to have fun build up to the fight. And we're going to see a fight. It's probably, the Mike Tyson one, I walked out because it was on at work. I stayed back to watch it. And then by the fourth round, I just left. I was like, yeah, this is kind of expected how it went. Just an old guy trying to get a nice right hook in, and then the young buck kind of just scared of his aura, just moving away, jab, jab, jab. And yeah, so like this fight, I'd say it's really different because obviously Jake Paul's versing heavyweight. And in the heavyweight division, usually there's no weight limit, whereas Anthony Joshua cannot weigh any more than 245 pounds. Apparently that's in the contract. And the last time he weighed in, he usually weighs in at like 252, 255 to 260. He weighs in around there for the past 3 years or so. The last time he weighed in at 245 was against Usyk back in 2022. So yeah, he's not fucking in the sauna cutting huge amounts of weight like you see in the UFC. But yeah, live on Netflix, it's 8 3-minute rounds, 10-ounce gloves. I actually have concerns for Jake's safety in this fight and the integrity of the commission, and could possibly, Jake Paul could very much end up in hospital. I don't hope for that, but on paper, this fight says Anthony Joshua obliterates Jake Paul in the first 2 rounds. Anthony Joshua is paying $1.11, Jake Paul $7. And for a knockout, Anthony Joshua is paying $1.29. So yeah, that's just on paper how it should go. And for Anthony Joshua to win in the first 60 seconds of the fight is paying $7. So there's your really only value money bet for this fight. And again, money breaks the rules. There's rules and they get broken all the time because money comes into play. And the commission for Florida, the reason why this fight's going ahead in this state is because of the money that they will receive for sanctioning this fight. And it could go very bad if Jake Paul gets fucking obliterated because, again, this is a circus event. This is what you see at the circus, these weird matchups of things, animals and just doing weird shit. And, think to yourself, you go into the circus, you got you got the rides, the games, you got that tent hut with all the animal stuff and the people doing like the Cirque du Soleil balancing, aero acrobatic type stuff. And then you got another tent where there's a boxing ring and you just got fucking crazy matchup of fights going on. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the circus this weekend. And is the boxing circus. And Anthony Joshua, let's get into his profile a little bit. British heavyweight boxer, one of the best of all time from Britain. 2-time heavyweight world champion. And he's coming off, he hasn't fought in 14 months since his knockout against Demoor. Yeah, he got viciously finished in that. And his record is 28-4. And of those 28 wins, 25 has come by knockout. So if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock out Jake Paul, this is a bit of a travesty of a performance by him and hurts his boxing legacy. Doesn't hurt his bank account. I, praise him for getting the bag because that's what boxing is, prize fighting, guys. Yes, it's a sport, but at the end of the day, it's prize fighting and you're there for the money. And in their face-to-face interview talks, what came first out of his mouth as to why he was doing it was, I'm doing it for the money. And then, he said the typical legacy and all this shit, the challenge. But he's doing it for the money and I don't blame him. I commend him. It's just, if you want to keep that legacy and brand of Anthony Joshua continuing and not hurt a potential matchup with Tyson Fury down the line, he's got to knock out Jake Paul within 2 rounds. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if that happens. It's either he knocks out Jake Paul or he wins a decision. I don't see any chance of Paul winning. And if he does, this is where the big speculations of what's in the fine print of that contract that could make this happen. And Jake Paul, as you know, from the Disney Channel, YouTuber. And he talked about this in the face-to-face, like, everyone just thinks he's a YouTuber. And, I disagree with him on a lot of things, but can't really... I had to agree with him when he said, like, people just put him in a box because, he said, like, I'm an entrepreneur, venture capitalist. He owns MVP Promotions that has been promoting all his fights. And yeah, he's right. Like, you guys got to get away from the Disney YouTuber stuff and realize, like, he uses and leans on that stuff to promote his fights. But at the end of the day, like, this guy's just a kid, just having fun in life, making money, and just doing what he likes. And he found boxing. He likes boxing, has money to invest in it and make himself good at it. Puts in the work. Like, you can't fake the skill and work that goes into boxing. Like, he's a sound boxer. And yeah, so like he's pretty much just a hobbyist, a boxing hobbyist that's made it a career out of it. And he's found a way in a market to sell fights, put him at the top of the heap, and people tune in. So yeah, I kind of hate him for that. And how many fights have we, talked about of his, and especially from the UFC world, all the MMA fighters, and like people say, you haven't fought a real fighter and all this stuff. And it's like, that's not the business he's in. He's in the business of fighting weird, crazy matchups, get some big retired names, and put on a show. And the only time he's fought an active professional boxer the same size as him was Tommy Fury. And look how that went. He lost by a split decision against, a guy around the same age who actually trains boxing. And Tommy Fury is a very sound, amateur pro boxer. Like, and it just shows you when Paul fought a guy who is actually, in at a reasonable age, the same age, same physique, like same weight, and who actually trains boxing, he got beat. So like that just proves it all. If you're trying to be like, oh, he's not that good, it's like, yeah, like as soon as he fought someone who actually boxes and who's not even a great boxer, who's just like, yeah, he's considered a pro boxer, but he's more of a part-time pro boxer. Tommy Fury's more of a social media reality TV guy that boxes and is the half or younger brother of Tyson Fury. But yeah, this is what makes it pretty weird when he's now fighting a heavyweight in Anthony Joshua, who, dude, I feel like a jab's just going to put him out. But we'll see. It's going to be fun. So let me know in the comments what you think. And what's weird about this card too is Anderson Silva, age 50, one of the greatest UFC MMA fighters of all time, takes on Tyron Woodley, who Jake Paul knocked out viciously. They fought twice. But now we get this weird matchup at cruiserweight, 6 3-minute rounds. Tyron Woodley boxing Anderson Silva. No one, like, coming from the UFC MMA community, no one's really hyped or excited or was like, when I heard of this, I was like, I just kind of like shook my head like, oh God, but hey, they're going to get their money. That's great. But yeah, no one's calling for these type of fights, really. But good on him. Anderson Silva, 50. Goodness me. I hope he's all right when he's in his 70s. Whew. But yeah, and like, what other sport can you take hobbyists, people with a following, and create a huge sort of event and, make a heap of money off of it? And that's what boxing, like, you can't really do that in like other sports. Like, I'm trying to think, football, tennis. Like, have you seen any like influencers go, I'm going to have this tennis match, sell out an arena, and, we're going to play, if it's guys, we're going to play best of five sets. We're going to sell out this arena. Like, you haven't seen it in other sports. And that's what's, people forget, like, boxing at its core is the circus. You take your fighter around the country and you go, hey, there's this fighter and undefeated. And then they started making it professional and started bringing in belts to elevate the status of a fight, of a person. But before that, it was all, man, it's the Wild West. It is a dirty sport. It was run by, gangsters, mafias, a lot of fixing. And that's what it is at its core, boxing. It's the Wild West circus and run by, gangsters, mafia, underground people. Not so much now, but hey, Jake Paul, that's why you can get a person like Jake Paul to just come in if you got money to invest and bring in investors and go, you don't need to be the best. You just need to be good at selling and bringing attention to it. So Anthony Joshua by knockout in the first couple of rounds. Anything less will be, as far as like boxing and career wise, will be a bad stain. Money wise, not good on him. But we move on to Misfits Boxing in Dubai. Goodness me. You can tell it's the holidays. Jeez. Andrew Tate, the guy who's trying to, or if he has escaped the Matrix, takes on Chase Demoor, who was the Misfits heavyweight champion. I've never heard of this Chase Demoor guy. I saw he's got like 1 million followers on Instagram, so hats off to him. Good on him. I heard he's on Too Hot to Handle, or some, he does reality TV, played college football or something. He's a pretty big dude, bigger than Andrew Tate. And yeah, we all know Andrew Tate from our algorithm back in 2022 to 2023. This guy came about saying all sorts of shit. He was probably the most Googled or famous person in the world for a period of time. And that's when I thought, that's why when I saw this fight, I'm like, it's too late to to capitalize. Like, he didn't capitalize on doing a fight at the right time. Like, I feel, this fight is a little bit too late. He's 39 now. He's kind of, he was on a freaking rocket on that virality and how famous he got. And it's really come crashing down. It's really leveled out. Like, he's still, everyone knows him, big name. But as far as that, like, no one really cares anymore. Like, yeah, like, oh, that's a dude that just says crazy shit, and some agree with it, some don't, and cool. And I feel like the moment when he could have capitalized on that virality and fame to get a massive fight against another big dude, name-wise, was back in, 2023, start of 2024. But again, it's hard to do that when you're in jail, when you're on house arrest. So I don't know what his legal status is now, but yeah, he was in jail, him and his brother, and then house arrest for a while. And during those years, yeah, very much, leveled out. But Andrew, Wakalajaw Bugatti Tate, was stepping in for his boxing debut. As we know, he was a kickboxer. He's got a record of, 76-9. On Tapology, it only shows like 29 kickboxing fights. It says he's a 4-time kickboxing world champion. And although a lot of those belts and fights are pretty like wishy-washy, what level of professionalism is that at? But again, he's a legit kickboxer. And Chase Demoor, he's been active though. Chase has been active fighting this year. But I went and watched a couple of his fights, and his chin is, if I had $1 for every time he just had his chin up just a little bit, I'd be a millionaire. There was a moment a guy did a feint on him, just fainted something, and his reaction was just like, I don't know, he started praying or something. It was a tough look. I couldn't watch anymore. But this year he's fought, holy shit. Like, he's been super active this year. He's fought 6 boxing fights this year. This will be his 7th. So he has more boxing experience than Andrew Tate. And so he's been active, and like, he only started his career in 2022, Chase. And then he got a draw, 4-fight losing streak, and he hasn't lost since. He got a draw, not on his last fight, but the fight before. So yeah, like, good on him. Like, he's making money doing this, get him staying fit, exercising. And he's the winner in this. He gets to fight a big name like Andrew, raises his profile. Like, did not know who this guy was until I saw this fight announcement. And Andrew Tate, he hasn't fought since 2020, a kickboxing fight. They went 2 rounds. His opponent retired. So, and he's 39 years old, and Chase is 29 years old. So 10-year age gap. And it's been 5 years since Andrew Tate stepped in the ring and had a and had a fight. So yeah, this is just, I think Andrew Tate will knock him out in the first few rounds. It'll just go down to, I think Andrew Tate will knock him out. Yeah, it's going to be a weird, fun event of boxing. And what else we got? We got Tony Ferguson on this card, the UFC great, former interim lightweight champion, Tony Ferguson. He got a win earlier this year. It was a happy day for the MMA community, seeing Tony Ferguson get a win after his 8-fight losing streak or whatever it was in the UFC, as he beat, I believe it was Salt Pappy in August of this year. So he's facing Warren Spencer. So I hope he can get another win, get another good payday. But yeah, other than that, yeah. So we got three former UFC fighters fighting this weekend across two different boxing promotions. And yeah, let me know your thoughts about this weird Andrew Tate fight happening in Dubai. Because, again, enjoy the circus, guys. And big news for serious boxing fans, for a serious one of the all-time great boxers. Terence Bud Crawford has officially retired. He puts out a social media YouTube video and he's saying he's retired. He's 38 years old, retires with a 42-0 record, five-time weight division champion or something, 3 undisputed. And yeah, he retires on top. And my initial thoughts was classical, typical textbook play to retire. Get some noise around you. Everyone's talking about you now. And then book a fight in 6 months. He's back. He's out of retirement. I mean, the way the post was and everything, it looked all legit and all. But, I was commenting, once the Saudi money's thrown at him again, he'll be back. And it's weird timing of it because, going out on top, beating Canelo Alvarez, becoming super middleweight undisputed world champ is a great way to go. But literally a week or two earlier, the WBC stripped him of the belt he just won after having it only for 80 days because he didn't pay sanctioning fees or something for the belt to the WBC. In a statement regarding the decision to strip Crawford of the WBC title, Soleimani said Crawford allegedly earned $50 million for his fight with Canelo, and while a fighter would normally have to pay 3% of that purse as a bout fee, the WBC modified the ask to get 0.6%, which equates to $300,000. So, and apparently he hasn't paid bout fees for his fight last year in 2024 as well. But Crawford's come out and said, what are you guys talking about? This is ridiculous. I'm the fighter. I'm the one in there. I shouldn't be paying you guys to march around with your belt. You should be paying me to be wearing your belt and elevating the status of the WBC belt. So again, boxing, man, it's a wishy-washy place. And I'm just wondering, if the retirement, if it was already in plan to happen, or if this is coming off the back of this weird WBC shit. Because I'm kind of in the corner with the fighter always, and with this to pay, $300,000. And I don't know what he's paying, the WBO, the IBF. What do we got? What else? WBA. There's so many belts and organizations. So, that's his hard-earned money. That seems like a lot of money. And yeah, I probably wouldn't pay it either, but I don't know the ins and outs of it all. But again, I'm on the side of the fighter with this. They're the ones stepping in. And yeah, he's probably right. The WBC is only as big as it is because of the fighters that wear it. And yeah, imagine if fighters were just I don't want the WBC belt, or I don't want to fight for this belt. Screw that. That just diminishes that whole organization and the brand of it. And yeah, so what do you think? I think he comes back. The way his 5-minute video he posted was this looks really legit, but I think it's a typical boxing play. He's 38. He looked great again. If it is for real, I'm happy for him, but also it's a very smart marketing move as well to come back and fight again. And yeah, so that's this weekend, guys. I was not planning to do this video, but I was I've got to preview the boxing circus. So Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, the freak show that is. Joshua via knockout within 2 rounds. I expect nothing less. And Yeah, comment your thoughts, guys. Like, seriously, what are your thoughts on these fights? Because I'm here for a good time. Like, I got the freaking, silly season Hawaiian shirt on, the bucket hat. Like, this is going to be a great time. It's happening Saturday afternoon, Australian time, the Jake Paul fight, and then the Dubai fights probably Sunday morning, Australian time. But yeah, I don't think I need to touch on anything else with this other than enjoy the fucking show. Catch you later, guys.